Mr. Garba Shehu, who released a statement earlier today, now joins us via telephone to clear the air on some of the matters regarding this case, which has gotten some international concerns. Thank you so much, Mr. Garba Shehu, for talking to us tonight on the program. Let's begin by asking you, the presidency has said, look, the DSS has the right to do whatever in its own capacity, but also in part of that statement did say that you underline what you perceive as the profile of Mr. Omoyele Sowore. Is this the body language of the president on this matter? Considering what the senior advocate here just said, that there's a presumption of innocence on the man until the conclusion and the determination of the case.
Well, thank you for giving us a further opportunity to speak to you on this burning national issue. And I hope that in the statement we issued today, there is nothing to suggest that Mr. Sowore is already found guilty and is convicted of the charges for which he is being tried or investigated. The secret service of the country has enormous powers under the Constitution. If anybody has problems with that, they can go to the National Assembly and seek a review of such powers. But yes, they can make arrests. They can hold people pending in line with the Constitution, pending the time when they charge those persons to court. So Mr. Sowore had been duly given bail and the terms had been met. The DSS not only released him that particular evening, they had paid the fine as instructed by the judge in full compliance of that instruction. There was a second arrest of himself. What would have warranted that arrest? I think that the DSS is in the best position to say this is why they arrested him the second time around.
Mr. Shehu, in this instance, a lot of people have in fact called out a lot of the lawyers who are in cabinet and the government of President Buhari over what has happened. And the NBA has come out to say it's a desecration of the temple of justice. What is the position of President Buhari on what happened in court? Because if this kind of situation has happened, not minding who did it, what is the position of the president in the protection of the judicial arm of government?
He has the highest respect for the justice system in the country, for the judiciary. And I assure you that President Muhammad Buhari is never one to do anything that will tamper with the agreed norms of dealing with the judiciary. He has the highest respect for them. Now, what happened in court on that day is the subject of controversy. As you are aware that the DSS has issued a statement denying that any of their men was in that film and was involved in that skirmish within and outside the court. In fact, their statement is to the effect that thugs, numbering more than 100, were surprisingly brought to court, and they had access to the chamber of the court, and that whatever may have happened may have been done and carried out by certainly the DSS is saying we are not a part of this. And I would be surprised if anybody would ask us this question: who do we believe? The DSS, which is a competent authority of the government under the Constitution, or some bloggers who are looking for following and the numbers so that they increase their advertising, their rating in terms of advertising. I think that people will make their choices. And the fact that the DSS has painstakingly put out the facts as they are known to them, we believe them. That's my point.
So, I mean, in this sense, if the DSS is saying that they were not those are not their men from the pictures that were filmed in court. And don't forget, Mr. Shehu, that some of our a staff of China's television was also assaulted in that courtroom in that instance too. And in that sense, the question is, because the DSS actually eventually arrested Shehu, so that means somehow they were within the court premises. So the question is, what were they doing there? And Mr. Shehu, the NBA is asking for the sack of the DSS head. As the president heard these concerns of the NBA?
Well, the fact that Shehu was rearrested, not within the chamber but outside of it by DSS, is in line of their duty, and they have, as the president said in our statement today, he is of interest to them, given the enormity of the crimes he is suspected to have committed. They should be allowed to carry out their investigation, and in any case, whatever they have on him, they will go before a judge, and the judge will decide whether they are right or they are wrong. And I assure you that there will be full compliance with whatever decision that the judge reaches on the given matter. As for the NBA, I'm not surprised at all that such inflammatory statements are coming from, and without meaning to read the motives into some of these things. We know the kind of things that have been going on between the leadership of the NBA, the highest level of leadership of the NBA, and the government, especially in view of the ongoing war against corruption in the country. And so therefore, when attacks come like this, we take them as being the price that the government has to pay, for doing what is right.
Mr. Shehu, there's been a lot of, there is a senator from New Jersey in the United States, whom we saw in a video that appeared online with the wife of Mr. Shehu, Senator Bob Menendez, who came out to say the United States government is concerned and they are going to take these up. Are you worried about the perception of the Buhari government in the case of the rule of law and the obedience to court order, and also the kind of image, what happened in court where a judge took cover because of that kind of scuffle that we saw right in the center of the courtroom? Are you worried the kind of image the government of your principal has or is getting in this kind of sense?
Well, if the Americans have been our friends, they have worked closely with the Trump administration against the expectations of many people. They're helping us out in the Northeast, the military training of military equipment, and in the dealing with the humanitarian situation. So therefore, we consider our relationship as being very, very important in that regard. However, I think that the enlightenment that also needs to be brought to them is the fact that as far as this country's law enforcement is concerned, that video was an orchestrated drama piece. It was drawn up in order to get the same kind of attention that is getting. And I think that Nigerians have choices to make, whether they think that the fate of this country resides with them or resides with some external forces or elements. In any case, who have what challenges in their own country, and we are wondering if really people shouldn't be asking them how well they are coping with the ongoing situation in their own country, and is it better than what we have here? It's a big question.
Mr. Garba Shehu, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, thank you so much for your thoughts then.